Like many others in the United Kingdom this past week, I am quite frankly sickened by the news of the police officers shooting the two dogs at the roadside. Whilst I always aim to bring you a balanced and unbiased approach on this channel, I will still try to do just that in this video. But remember, when an advocate provides to you a different way of looking at something, it doesn't necessarily mean that we agree with it. So when an advocate provides you with an argument which may counter the obvious argument, it is always just that. It's another argument, another way of looking at it. In fact, when we look at things as advocates, we always look at it from the opposing side as well. That's how we can provide the best possible service and argument. But as I echo from my previous video on the Floof's channel, our own very own Floof, which I'll link in the description below, go ahead and subscribe to her as well. I felt that it was right to do it on that channel because I would reach the right audience, because obviously dog lovers go and follow that channel. Now, as I said on that channel, there is no specific law that provides for summary destruction of dogs at the roadside. And in fact, the only way they can justify it is to say that they felt that their lives or their serious loss of limb was a serious and very real risk at that time. Now, the Metropolitan's own professional standards looked at it and said they find nothing wrong with the officer's conduct. Some may be cynical and say, well, they would say that. Others, the opposing argument might well be that they will have looked at the body cam footage and therefore they would be in the better position to decide from that perspective whether there was a very real risk to these officers. But just to give you, because I don't agree with that, quite frankly, I don't agree that's justified. That is why two complaints from the eyewitnesses that saw this happen and quite frankly will be severely distraught about that incident have reported it as complaints, and therefore it's going to the IOPC for an independent complaints review. I do hope that that is a full and impartial and in-depth review that calls upon experts to say what they think about that situation. Now, just to give you again, the opposing view, a lot of people have said the dog's tails were wagging back and forth, meaning they were happy. Now, I'm no dog expert and I don't profess to be, but a dog wagging its tail is not necessarily in a happy mood. Some dogs will wag their tail and arc it forwards and things like that when they are being aggressive. But as I said, I'm no dog expert. If there are dog experts watching, I would fully encourage you to engage in the comment section below. And there is also a link in the description to a petition which has received quite a number of signatures, over 381,000 signatures, to hold the Met Police criminally accountable for the killing of these two dogs. Now, to be clear, it appears that those two dogs were still on a lead by its owner, who was subsequently tasered and arrested. And then, of course, the police responded by killing the two dogs. Now, I'll put the link to that petition in the description below. I'm not going to show the video on this channel. I don't think that's necessary because I'm talking about the law specifically here. Now, there is a provision within the Dangerous Dogs Act, and it's usually the same question. Is it a pit bull? And there is also a sort of flowchart decision-making guide by the Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, which is a government department, about what to do when dealing with dangerous dogs incidents. And even if we take this situation at its highest, and we start with the question that is now on screen, is the dog considered aggressive, dangerous, or is there any other concern for public safety or animal welfare? Let's say yes, the dog's being dangerous. And then we look at, has an offence under Section 3 of the Dangerous Dogs Act been committed? Now, for clarity, Section 3 of the Dangerous Dogs Act is keeping dogs under proper control, i.e. if a dog is dangerously out of control, then the owner's guilty of an offence. This is usually the case where the dog is not on lead, but not necessarily. If the dog is still dangerously out of control, it may well still be an offence under Section 3. Going back to the flowchart, if an offence under Section 3 has been committed, and so we answer yes, and then even if these dogs are the pit bull type, which I can't tell from the video, and it doesn't say in the news articles, so I don't know. So just to be clear, I'm not saying these dogs were pit bull type dogs, but even let's say that they were. We follow the yes route on this flowchart. That takes us all the way across to the left-hand side here. Is the dog in a public place? If the answer is yes, then this flowchart from the government department says to proceed under Section 5 of the Dangerous Dogs Act, which under Section 5, that the officers have the power to seize any dog which it appears to him to be a dog to which Section 1 applies in a public place, at a time or whatever. Any dog in a public place appears to him to be a dog which Section 2 applies. And so, in other words, the officer can seize this dog. Now, that is what Section 5 provides, and then the flowchart says seize the dog and prosecute under the Dangerous Dogs Act. And so, prosecuting under the Dangerous Dogs Act, the court can make a provision for the destruction of those dogs. However, it is not as simple as that. Even if a court makes an order for destruction, this provides, under Section 4, which is the destruction and disqualification orders under the Act, subsection 3, this is where an order has been made for destruction, a dog shall not be destroyed pursuant to an order under subsection 1 above until, then an A or B, an A and B. A, until the end of the period for notice of appeal against the conviction, and if notice of appeal is given within that period, until the appeal is determined or withdrawn, unless the offender, and in the case that subsection 2 applies, the owner of the dog gives notice to the court that there's to be no appeal. So even under the Dangerous Dogs Act, where the court can make an order for destruction, there still has to be due process and proper justice. In other words, an appeal can be made against the offence because it is not an absolute guarantee until proven beyond a reasonable doubt, because this is a criminal offence, that an offence has been committed. However, on the face of it, if these dogs or one of these dogs had bitten this lady around the corner, on the face of it, there is an offence that the dog is dangerously out of control. But this is an offence that's supposed to be decided by a court, not just an officer with a gun at the side of the road. Now, as I read in the news reports, again, I don't know for certain that this is true, but it's news reports, it's on various news reports, Independent, Sky, and so on, that this lady did not want anyone around to call the police because presumably she would have some idea of what was going to happen. And again, reportedly, she is distraught at what has happened subsequently to somebody calling the police, or the police being called to the area. However they ended up in the area, I'm not really sure. But one way or another, the police turned up and they've summarily carried out the law. Now, I have a significant concern here that we are becoming a police state if police are going to summarily make these decisions. Now, here's the counter argument. What would people do and what would people say if the police did not take this action and these dogs went on to harm or kill anyone else or any other animal, and the police could have done something about it? Doubtless the police would come under similar criticism for not doing something about it, not acting, and not dealing with the dog there and then when they had the opportunity to do so. So there are two completely opposing arguments to this story. But I've chatted with a number of other people, and so far I have not come across anybody, lawyer or otherwise, that has said that this is a justified event. I don't feel it's justified. That is my gut conclusion. And I don't say any of this lightly. I don't draw conclusions lightly, or often, in fact. I often don't draw any conclusion on this channel. I give you both arguments and I leave it down to you. As it is, because of the severity of what has happened, I don't find it justified. That is a personal opinion. It is not yet a fully vamped legal opinion. I would have to do much more research on it to make it a legal opinion. But with the research that I've done, I've looked at this over the course of today and yesterday, whilst doing other things. I haven't found any law that specifically allows the police to do what they did. The narrow exception is if the dog is endangering livestock and things like that. It's a defense to destroy a dog that is doing that. But even that is going to be a narrow exception. So let me know what you think in the comments below. don't sort of attack and argue with each other. Leave your opinions by all means. And if you feel like raising a complaint, then please do that as well. You are free to raise a complaint to the police services so that the IOPC look at this properly and impartially. And if you want to sign this petition, which is to hold the police criminally responsible, because after all, if it was not lawful, then it's unlawful. It's no different than an unlawful arrest. If the police arrest you and they did not have lawful grounds to do that, that is why that is why solicitors are around to sue the police for civil damages, because it amounts to unlawful detention. If the police arrest you and they have no valid grounds to arrest you, it's unlawful detention. There is no reason this should be any different if the police have done what they did and it is determined that they did not have lawful authority to do so. As I said, I've not fully explored the law on this. I say not fully explored. I cannot find a law that supports it. If I found a law that supports it, I would say so, because that's usually what I do. I usually find a law that supports it, but then there's a counter argument and I provide you them both. As it stands, I haven't found one, but I wanted to do this video now because I feel like getting this off my chest and allowing you the opportunity to make the complaint and to, if you wish to sign that petition in the description below. And of course to leave your thoughts in the comments below this video. If I do come across any law that supports this, I've asked our Alan Robertshaw, animal rights lawyer, and if there are any other animal rights lawyers watching or finding this on Twitter, please hit me up. Let me know. Is there a law that I'm missing that's just not jumping out at me? Normally I can find these things. At the moment, I can't find a law that absolutely justifies what they've done. But there we go. There it is. Those are my thoughts on this video for this moment. Leave me your thoughts and comments in the box below. Make sure you like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you get updates. I'm going to be doing some daily news and weekly masterclass videos so that you get the best of both. Those that like the news can stick around. Those that like the more in-depth videos, subscribe for those. And perhaps a few shorts like our Is It Legal shorts that I did the other day. Some people like those. So something for everyone. Make sure you subscribe and I'll see you next time.